Pamela Anderson. Where do we even start? The 90s blonde bombshell who graced our screens in that iconic red one piece on Baywatch. She became a household name and somehow managed to cling to that fame for decades. Whether it was her career, her wildly public personal life, or the two, let's say, assets that made her unforgettable. Let's be honest, Pamela has been inescapable. And not just for her acting skills. Come on and join the joyride to the never-ending saga of Pamela Anderson. An ongoing roller coaster of scandal, drama, and a whole lot of eyebrow-raising moments. Sorry to interrupt, but if you don't subscribe, I'll have to slow motion run after you like it's Baywatch. The Pam and Tommy tape scandal. Let's start with the infamous Pam and Tommy tape. If you didn't live under a rock in the 90s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This was the scandal that launched 1,000 awkward family conversations and turned Pamela into a pop culture legend for all the wrong reasons. What was supposed to be a private moment between her and Tommy Lee became a VHS relic of the late 90s. And let's face it, for a while, this tape became more famous than her acting career ever was. While it's a textbook case of privacy invasion, it's also the scandal that cemented her status as the queen of controversy. Her work? Totally overshadowed. The scandal? Unforgettable. Kind of like an embarrassing tattoo on your forehead you can't remove. The roller coaster marriage to Tommy Lee. Speaking of Tommy Lee, let's not forget their whirlwind romance. Nothing says, "This will last forever," like getting hitched after 4 days of knowing each other. Their marriage was explosive, and not in the good way. Between the fights, the custody battles, and the non-stop tabloid drama, their love story was more of a soap opera than a fairy tale. Of course, divorce was inevitable. But hey, if your love life isn't causing literal public brawls, are you even a celebrity? Pam and Tommy were a match made in gossip heaven, but it didn't take long for the inevitable crash landing. Her other marriages. As if one dramatic marriage wasn't enough, Pam decided to give matrimony another go, 5 more times. Because why not? Her marriage to Kid Rock ended in divorce after a whopping 4 months, and it reportedly fell apart over her cameo in Borat. Yep, you heard that right, Borat ruined her marriage. Tough life. Then there's Rick Salomon, whom she married twice and divorced twice. Because apparently, once wasn't embarrassing enough. Hollywood history repeating itself? You bet ya. At this point, her weddings feel more like casual get-togethers than sacred vows. If anything, Pamela has taught us that persistence is key, even when it comes to making the same mistakes over and over again. The iconic Baywatch run. Who could forget Pamela's slow-motion run on Baywatch? The red swimsuit, the sunny beach, the jiggle. It's become an iconic piece of 90s nostalgia, but let's be real. How practical was that run? High-cut one-piece swimsuits and sand don't exactly scream life-saving action. And the hair, the makeup? Because that's exactly what we expect from someone who's supposedly just pulled a drowning victim from the ocean. But then again, Baywatch wasn't about reality. It was a fine piece about running in slow motion while looking like a sun-kissed goddess. And in that department, Pamela absolutely delivered. The Barbed Wire fiasco. Remember the movie Barb Wire? No, don't worry, you're not alone. Pamela's attempt to become a serious action star was, let's say, less Terminator, more Trainwreck. The plot, if you could call it that, was overshadowed by the film's desperate attempts to showcase Pamela in leather and tattoos, rather than actually telling a good story. The movie bombed, of course, proving once again that sometimes being hot in slow motion isn't enough to carry a film. Barbed Wire quickly became a cult favorite, but for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes disasters have a way of sticking around, and this one stuck like duct tape on a B-movie set. PETA activism and the fur controversy. Pamela, the vegan fur-free queen of animal rights, has been a passionate spokesperson for PETA. Good for her. But wait, wasn't this the same Pamela spotted rocking fur coats back in the 90s? That's right, folks. Our animal rights Amazon was once wrapped up in more fur than a Siberian husky in winter. She's since turned a new leaf, trading fur for faux, but the transformation from fashion faux pas to ethical fashionista was a bit jarring. Sure, we love a redemption arc, but let's not forget how far she had to climb from her past choices to become the animal advocate she is today. The Dancing with the Stars era. Who could forget Pamela's turn on Dancing with the Stars? Oh right, everyone. The show seemed like the perfect platform for her to twirl her way back into the public eye. Except her dance moves didn't quite live up to her glorious Baywatch run. Her performance? Let's call it less samba, more stumble. She gave it her best shot, but clearly the ballroom didn't exactly become her second home. She was eliminated pretty early, proving that even Pamela Anderson isn't immune to the brutal whims of reality TV voters. Still, at least she gave us something to talk about, if only for a brief moment. The short-lived reality TV show. Before reality TV was dominated by the Kardashians, Pamela tried her hand at the genre with Pam, Girl on the Loose. Sounds edgy, right? Well, the title was the best part. The show promised to give us a glimpse into Pamela's real private life, but instead, it just reinforced the same over-the-top persona we already knew. There wasn't much depth, insight, or even a storyline. Just a lot of glitz, glam, and Pamela being good old Pam. Needless to say, the show came and went faster than her marriages, and it quickly became a forgotten footnote in her career. The Playboy legacy. Pamela holds the record for the most Playboy covers. Impressive? Sure. Excessive? Absolutely not. On one hand, her association with the magazine is undeniable. It made her a global sensation. But on the other hand, it's typecast her in a role she's never quite been able to break free from. No matter what she does, that iconic Playboy bunny image follows her everywhere. Even as the magazine itself has evolved, Pamela remains one of its most famous centerfolds, for better or worse. It's hard to reinvent yourself when the world sees you as that woman on the cover. The on-again, off-again activism. Pamela's activism has been about as consistent as her relationships, which is to say, not very. One minute she's passionately fighting for animal rights, the next she's advocating for the environment, and then, boom! She's defending Julian Assange. Yeah, we'll talk about him later on. It's admirable that she wants to make a difference, but it feels like she's tossing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Her activism is everywhere and nowhere at once, leaving people confused about what her true priorities are. In Hollywood, that's called multitasking. In reality, it's called having no focus. Stick with the animals, Pam. They don't argue back. Her attempts at legitimate acting. Pamela's tried to be taken seriously as an actress multiple times, bless her heart. For every mildly successful role, there are about a dozen that flopped harder than Barb Wire. Remember the movie V.I.P? Of course you don't. Her struggle to break out of the bombshell stereotype has been a long and painful one. But that iconic beach run is a tough act to follow. It's not that Pamela lacks talent, it's just that no one can look at her without seeing the Baywatch babe. The shadow of slow-motion sand running looms large, and unfortunately, it's a hurdle she's never quite managed to clear. The animal sanctuary that never was. At one point, Pamela announced grand plans to open an animal sanctuary. Yeah, it was supposed to be a haven for abused animals, and it seemed like the perfect project for her. But surprise, surprise, it never actually happened. The sanctuary that could have been became just another abandoned project in her long list of well-intentioned but poorly executed ideas. Whether it was too ambitious or life simply got in the way, we'll never know. But it's a shame, because this could have been Pamela's second most meaningful contributions. The first one, of course, being the slow-mo run in her red bathing suit. Nothing will beat that. The cryptic social media posts. Pamela's social media is a mix of art, politics, and confusion. Her Instagram is full of cryptic posts, black and white photos with poetic captions that are more confusing than deep. One minute she's a beach babe, the next she's a philosophical oracle. It's like she's trying to be edgy and mysterious, but ends up just leaving her followers scratching their heads. What exactly are we supposed to take away from these posts, Pam? Whatever it is, it's lost in translation. If her goal is to be thought-provoking, she might want to start with fewer cryptic riddles and more clarity. The relationship with Julian Assange. Speaking of confusion, let's talk about Pamela's bizarre friendship with Julian Assange. Or was this more than just a friendship? In any case, how the world's most famous lifeguard and a controversial whistleblower became friends is beyond me. Her defense of him, despite serious allegations, raised more than a few eyebrows and left many of her fans confused. While it's clear she believes in his cause, this relationship added another layer of weird to her already complex public persona. And really, who saw that one coming? Not exactly the plot twist anyone expected in the Pamela Anderson story, but hey, it kept her in the headlines. Her battle with hepatitis C. On a more serious note, Pamela's battle with hepatitis C was no joke. Diagnosed in 2002, she bravely went public with her condition and used her platform to raise awareness about the disease. In 2015, she was cured, marking the end of a long, painful chapter in her life. Her openness about her health struggles was admirable and even inspirational. But because this is Pamela Anderson, the tabloid coverage of her illness was just another spectacle in her already tumultuous life. It's like she can't escape the spotlight, even when it comes to something as personal as her health. The questionable fashion choices. Let's be real, Pamela Anderson has made some peculiar fashion choices. From the infamous white cowboy hat at the MTV Video Music Awards to her love of plunging necklines, her style has always been more about shock value than sophistication. And while she's had some iconic moments, she's also had plenty of misses. Maybe it's her love of playing to the cameras, but more often than not, Pamela's outfits scream, "Look at me," rather than fashion icon. But hey, at least she's memorable, right? The documentary comebacks. How many documentaries about Pamela Anderson do we really need? Apparently quite a few, because she just keeps coming back for more. Each new doc promises to reveal the real Pamela, but they end up telling us what we already know. She was hot in the 90s, her life is a tabloid editor's dream, and she's had a few ups and downs. It's like watching the same story on repeat, only with slightly different camera angles. If you've seen one Pamela Anderson documentary, you've seen them all. So why are you even watching this video? At this point, we're not uncovering anything new. We're just recycling old material and put it into a new work. The veganism that wasn't. Pamela has been a proud and vocal vegan for years, advocating for animal rights and healthy living. But as with most things in her life, it hasn't been without its contradictions. There have been a few slip-ups along the way, like promoting products that weren't exactly cruelty-free. When you're that vocal about veganism, people notice those kinds of mistakes. While everyone's allowed to mess up now and then, Pamela's high-profile stances on these issues mean that her slip-ups come with an extra helping of public scrutiny. The plastic surgery speculation. Pamela Anderson's ever-evolving appearance has been the subject of plastic surgery speculation for years. She's been open about some of her procedures, and this has kept her in the spotlight, but it's also subjected her to a relentless stream of criticism. At this point, Pamela's looks are almost as famous as her career, and the constant chatter about her plastic surgery only adds to the circus that surrounds her. After all, when you're an icon, even your face becomes part of the public conversation. The unfortunate Pamela and Tommy reboot. In 2022, Hulu decided to dig up Pamela's past yet again with the Pam and Tommy miniseries, revisiting the infamous tape scandal. What could have been an opportunity for a thoughtful examination of privacy, exploitation, and celebrity culture ended up feeling like yet another attempt to profit off her personal trauma. Pamela has long moved on from that chapter of her life, but apparently the rest of the world hasn't. The show reignited a conversation that Pamela herself probably would have preferred to leave in the past, proving once again that her legacy is forever tied to a scandal she never wanted in the first place. The awkward celebrity endorsements. Pamela's celebrity endorsements over the years have been questionable at best. From pushing dubious health supplements to launching fashion lines that no one asked for, Her endorsements often feel more like a quick cash grab than a genuine business venture. When you're a celebrity, attaching your name to a product can be a great way to make money. But in Pamela's case, it's often left us wondering, does she even use this stuff herself? Her endorsements tend to feel forced, and more often than not, they come off as cringeworthy rather than credible. The ironic redemption arcs. Pamela Anderson has tried to reinvent herself time and time again, but her redemption arcs often feel more ironic than genuine. Every time she makes a comeback, it's overshadowed by the very scandal she's trying to escape. It's like she's running on a hamster wheel. No matter how hard she tries to move forward, she keeps getting pulled back into the same old drama. In the world of celebrity, redemption is a common theme, but for Pamela, it always feels just out of reach. She might have changed, but the world refuses to let her leave her past behind. And there you have it, Pamela Anderson, proof that even the most glamorous lives are messy behind the curtain. Whether she's running in slow motion on the beach or battling the tabloids, one thing's for sure. Pamela Anderson is as unforgettable as she is unpredictable, and we all love her for it. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.